Well, beautiful people, best damn nation. It is Wednesday, and you know what time it is. It is the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. My name is Brian Renegade, and with me, I have the best damn crew. First of all, you see this man's pectorals in a dark alley. He can either save your life or beat the hell out of you and throw you in the trash can. He is the green-eyed bandit. He is the king of grapple. He's your mama's favorite wrestler. And he can whoop your daddy ass, Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews. What's happening? I can't nobody hear you, bro.
My bad. I'm so excited. So excited for today's show. Welcome, everybody. We are here. We made it to 2024. Happy New Year, my brother Renegade. Happy New Year to you, brother, man.
Brother.
This year, I have labeled it God year. Okay? This is God year because I feel like He's going to give us everything that we've been waiting for, we've been fighting for, all the struggles we went through, all the storms we've gone through. And just to let you know that this is God year, just to show the whole world, the best damn nation, that this is God year, let me give you guys a little preview of what God did for me. Mr. Everything is now in yo city. I partnered with a good friend who found me and has allowed me to utilize his gym with full equipment. Mr. Everything has moved up. This is God year. This is the year where success is imminent. We're gonna do big things this year. So y'all already know. If you're in a
Big
Raleigh,
team.
big team, but if you're in the Wake County, Johnson County, Durham County, Wayne County, Cumberland County, I don't care if you're in Charlotte County, come see your boy. Come get a good workout in.
Oh man, that's your boy, Mr. Everything. If you want to get a good workout in, man, get trained by Mr. Everything. Boxing, wrestling, you know what I'm saying, fitness, all that jazz, anything that you want. But I have to introduce the villain of villains, the Black Grinch. This man is the Renaissance man. He's Beyonce's real baby daddy. The one and only LP is in the building.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. What's going on? What's going on?
Oh man, what's good with you, my brother? Happy New Year. You know what I'm saying?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
All that jazz, man. It's good to see you, brothers, man. Glad to see you for another year. Beautiful people, we got some hot stuff going on for you. Comment in the box. Show us some love. You know what I'm saying? If you're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, X. Well, Twitter is X. X. You know what I'm saying? If you're on any of those platforms watching us, welcome to the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. If you're in Radio Land, then Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Apple Music, any of the platforms where you get your podcast, you can listen to your boys, the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. We the best thing smoking. Jack. Fellas, we got a big interview today. Mr. Everything, I'm just going to let you tell the people about the guest that we have for today.
Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the best talents out there. He's traveled all over the world. He's had multiple tours with Japan, and he's getting ready to actually go back again pretty soon. I'm gonna let him tell you about his career story. He's an amazing man. I want to introduce you all to a good friend and past opponent, Ryan Davidson. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to have a chance to talk to him, chop it up with him, and get to know Mr. Ryan Davidson today.
Oh, man. So we're excited for that interview. But fellas, we got to get into some of this wrestling news like we does. Beautiful people, we do this each and every week. You know, it's my favorite thing to do. Prepare yourself for hot topics. I'm gonna go with the hot button right now. That's on all of the blogs and the news feeds and the wrestling world. They got all the tongues a wagging. Your boy Chris Jericho is in some hot water right now, man. He has some allegations of some sexual misconduct backstage, sexual harassment claims from multiple people. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on that, man. Let me go ahead and go to the villain of the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. LP, have you been checking up on this Chris Jericho news, man?
No, I saw something a little bit about it the other day, but I hadn't really had a chance to dive into it. I mean, at this point, who ain't got sex harassment charges? So it's like everybody. So no, I haven't had a chance to follow who it is or who's been saying it. I did see something briefly about it, but I'm not completely up to date with what he did or what he allegedly done.
Well, allegedly he's allegedly made passes at women before. There was a stigma going around that he would steal people's girlfriends, wrestlers' girlfriends, which is a no-no in the wrestling world. I'm not sure how true those allegations are, but you know, Mr. Steal Your Girl. I didn't know. Obviously, I didn't know Chris Jericho was Mr. Steal Your Lady. Watch your chick.
We think that he made a list, which I thought that list was for.
Ooh, yeah, that's the list. Yeah, a hit list. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, just everything. Being a wrestler, man. Have you ever seen stuff backstage where you know you thought that it might have been questionable, or you know, some wrestlers may have took it too far?
No, because ain't nobody doing no craziness like that around me. They know better. If I see something, I'm not saying something. I'm doing something about it. So no, I have not experienced that. I have heard stories of different areas and different guys, and a lot of them get canceled and whatever. I hope this news about Chris Jericho is not true, because he is like a pioneer of this generation as far as the professional wrestling goes. So I don't know, man. The only time would tell. And here's the thing.
Wait, is that the allegations that he took somebody's girlfriend? That's not harassment. What's wrong with that?
Well, you know, I was just saying that was something that he was known for in certain locker rooms.
Okay, so was Edge. So was John Cena. You know, I mean,
different time. I guess it was a different time back then, but you know,
nah.
Some of that.
We always say, do not bring the girls in the locker room. They're not wrestlers. They're not talent. They got no business in the locker room anyway. So
the problem is with talent. You know, some of the talent have you know, filed sexual harassment claims within AEW, and Tony Khan had some uncomfortable questions to really answer. You know what I'm saying? About his sexual harassment policy.
Tony Khan is an uncomfortable question. Have you ever seen
Tony Khan?
He looked nervous all the time.
Yes, he gonna have a. I think he regrets buying. He don't look happy. Like I think Tony Khan needs to. You know how every time you see the Cowboys, you always gotta see Jerry Jones. We don't give a shit about Jerry Jones. You don't see the other owners. Tony Khan needs to stay behind the scenes and not even had, you know, let everybody think that it was Jericho in there running the show or something. But he's not. He don't need to be. He's not Eric Bischoff. You know, Eric Bischoff was a totally different person. Where he was there, but he knew how to entertain and be part of the product and yada yada yada. You know, right. Eric Bischoff hates Tony Khan. He talks shit about Tony Khan all the time. But yeah, Tony Khan just need to sit down somewhere, stop doing press conferences. Like, you're not a wrestler. Nobody cares what you think. He takes a lot of unnecessary heat, is basically what I'm saying.
Well, you know, I think that he's a real fan at heart, man. And if you have the ability to buy something that you love and care about, you know what I'm saying? I see him as a big kid having fun and living the dream. You know what I'm saying? Of having his own company. You know what I'm saying? I just see Tony Khan as a big kid with a bunch of action figures playing a makeshift ring.
Dream though? As much as he's going through, is he really living a dream, or is it like a nightmare now? Because
no, that's getting that girlfriend you thought you wanted, and you realize she annoying as shit.
Well, you know, I think that it'll pass over, man. I hope that the claims aren't true. There's always some kind of discourse, some type of disruption within the backstage of AEW, and I think that they're quickly becoming known for that more than they are for some of the great matches that they've been putting on lately, man. So we'll see. I really don't want it to go any further, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to watch what you say. You don't want to get me too. You know what I'm saying? We talked to Austin Aries. He was saying, I got me too. You know what I'm saying? So you got to watch. You got to watch what you're doing nowadays, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the old days like it used to be.
Very true.
Oh, man. Fellas, speaking of AEW, man, they now have a new champion in Samoa Joe. He defeated MJF, and he is their new AEW champion. Let me go around the board real quick. I want to get your thoughts on this to see how you feel Samoa Joe would do as a champion for AEW. Let me go, LP.
I think he's great. I always hate that they was never gonna give him the chance on WWE. So I'm happy to see Joe get this opportunity. I mean, the dude's earned it. He's been in the game for a long time. He's a beast on the mic. He's a beast in the ring. I never understood why WWE didn't go ahead and let him get to that point where he could have got. I think he's gonna be a pretty good champion.
Yeah, well, he had the opportunity to win the NXT championship, and I thought that they were going to do something with that, and then he got apparently hurt, and then started doing the commentary right after that. I wanted him to stay on the product, man, because I love Samoa Joe, and I've been watching a little bit of what he's been doing since he's been in AEW, not as much, but you know, Joe is Joe, man, and I love what Joe can do. Now, will he elevate the AEW product? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he'll put on some great matches and really push the talent, and that's a type of wrestler that you need. I think that MJF was doing more harm as a champion than he was doing good, to be honest with you. Mr. Everything, how do you feel that Samoa Joe is now your AEW champion?
Man, I really don't know. I don't know what it'll do for AEW. Honestly, I don't know what Samoa Joe could do in terms of being champion for AEW. I think they're getting to a point now where they're just trying to put the belt on anybody just to make it some type of relevance. And Samoa Joe is like the next best thing outside of MJF. I don't know who can you really see taking the belt off of him in a singles competition. Like they would have to do some type of stipulation type of deal for Samoa to lose the belt, because he is like a really dominant type of talent in terms of
yeah.
Like if nobody really gonna legit go out there and be like, yeah, I could beat Samoa Joe. Like he made an open challenge, and I responded to it on Twitter. I ain't gonna lie, because I'm like, I'll get in with him. I don't care. I'll bang with Samoa Joe. I hope he's watching. I hope he's listening. Samoa, if you listening, what up? What up? What's going on? What you trying to do? But you know, it remains to be seen. Let's see who actually steps up to the plate and who can actually elevate. That is the biggest thing as a champion. Is whoever your competition is, you have to be able to elevate them to make yourself look more relevant.
I'm excited to see Joe as champion, man. But do I think that he's going to elevate the AEW product? I don't know.
I don't think he has to elevate the AEW product. I think that's one of the problems as modern day wrestling fans. Everybody's looking at somebody to elevate the whole show. Long as he's a good champion, it doesn't matter. Is Samoa Joe going to make people start watching AEW? No, but MJF really wasn't either. I mean, people might here and there, but it's not like, with the exception of John Cena or The Rock or somebody like that going to AEW, nothing's going to shock that. So what AEW need to focus on is doing what they're doing, putting on good, like they started off doing. Where AEW is losing stuff is they're trying to compete with WWE, and they don't need to. It goes back like DC when DC tried to put out a Justice League movie, damn near the third damn movie after they started trying to catch up with Marvel, who been doing it for 10 years. Don't try to battle WWE. Just put out your product. And I think if they do that and they keep building their stars, because what a lot of people don't realize, AEW is building stars. Nobody, tell me where MJF was before AEW, because I never heard of him before. I don't know about y'all. I never heard of him.
He was just on Independence. That's it. He was on there.
And Darby Allin, Cassidy, all these names that they have built in WWE, in AEW, who if they were to go to WWE now, more people would know them. AEW is damn near coming to developmental for WWE, but they're making stars. So let's not. I think sometimes people get a little bit twisted about AEW. They're making they got some homegrown stars. Actually, in my personal opinion, they probably making more stars than WWE. Recently, WWE is getting better at making some of their people bigger stars than they were. But I really think with WWE, you're on the biggest product there is. AEW, you're on a lesser product, but you're still building your stars that people actually knew. Hangman Page and some of the other Young Bucks. The only reason why I know of them is because of Ring of Honor, and that's because I used to watch Ring of Honor when it used to come on TV with no cable. It's the only damn thing wrestling I could watch. Was Ring of Honor, because it came on like 3 times a day on Saturday. But the average person was not watching Ring of Honor. So yeah, I think AEW would be all right if they stay their course and stop trying to compete.
That's an interesting perspective. Well, if we're going back to WWE and NXT, man, one character that you guys might be familiar with is Velveteen Dream, man. And he has some allegations against him as well. Some inappropriate behavior with some male minors and, taking pictures of wrestlers and using the restroom, stuff like that. Those allegations. So he just recently almost dropped the Usher's confession. And pretty much just, asking for forgiveness for some of the things that he's been accused of, or whatever the case may be. Let's hear it from the mouth of Velveteen Dream.
As you've probably seen or have heard over the course of the last few years, I want to apologize for my behavior. Both professionally and personally, I always preach to those closest to me about the power of accountability and responsibility, and I take full accountability for my behavior over the last 3 years of my life. When narratives were written about me, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter what was written about me. It doesn't matter what was said about me. It doesn't matter what's on the internet about me. I was wrong. Okay? And because of that, I need to apologize to a few people. First, I want to apologize to the WWE organization. I want to apologize to the WWE organization for any unwanted attention and negative press that I brought to your brand and your product. I want to apologize to the WWE fans and the Velveteen Dream fans, because when you hear the name Velveteen Dream, it should have only been spoken about in a productive and a positive light. Not the name Patrick Clark as another statistic of what happens when talent and opportunity meet immaturity. Okay? That's not what you spend your hard-earned money on. It's not what you invest your time and your money in. When you look on the TV and you come to the shows, you should escape reality, not have to deal with mine. I want to apologize to the WWE and the fans. I want to apologize to Paul Levesque. Paul, you are such an understanding and patient man and leader, and getting the opportunity to work with you and to learn from you, I get the sense of what makes you who you are and how you've been able to handle the responsibility of being in the public light for such a long time. I want to apologize to you, Paul. I'm sorry. Also, I want to say I'm sorry to Shawn Michaels. Shawn, it's still beyond me that I've been having the opportunity in this lifetime to learn from you, to have your mentorship and your guidance. And I apologize if you feel like you've wasted your time and your energy investing into me. You have not. I'm still a work in progress. I'm still learning, and I remember all the lessons that you've taught me. Sean, I'm sorry. My best friend, Tahuti Miles, I want to apologize to you because before you were tied to me publicly for the support you've given me and you continue to give me, your resume was impeccable. And I apologize for any smudges that I may have put on that resume because of my behavior. You're the last person that should have to deal with anything like that, and I'm sorry, man. I want to apologize to my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my nieces and my nephews, because you may read things, you may hear about things, you may be confronted by people who you don't know, and you might feel the need to explain yourselves on my behalf. I just want you to know that you do not have to do that, ever. No one should have to explain anything for Patrick Clark. No one should have to trend because of Patrick Clark. No one should have to answer the questions, where's Patrick now? What did Patrick do? What happened with Patrick? That's not your responsibility, and I don't want you to feel burdened with that responsibility. That's my responsibility, okay? And I apologize to you all for any energy, negative energy that has had to come your way because of me, okay? Again, I want to apologize to the fans and those in my professional and personal life that I've affected by my behavior. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I recognize that I was losing myself, and I apologize to anyone that I lost along the way, anyone that I've upset or offended because of my behavior. Man, I'm sorry. And I hope you all forgive me. Thank you.
I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. Man, if I got to beg and plead for some sympathy, he would have taken Ruffin Jack. Oh man, we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, he issued an apology, man. So I thought it was heartfelt. And, we'll see what you guys think. But we got a guest in the building. Oh man, Mr. Everything. I'm gonna go ahead and let you do the intro, my friend, for our esteemed guest.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and creatures of all planets, we have one amazing talent. He just came off his tour from Japan. He's going to give you guys a rundown of his career, his life, his legacy, who he's been trained by, who he has trained. The amazing and the biggest cheater I've ever seen, Ryan Davidson.
Well, that was probably one of the best intros ever. Can you guys hear me right off the gate? Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you
perfectly.
getting up just a little bit.
Perfect. Like one of the last podcast interviews I did, it was like it took me.
All right, we're gonna have you. We're gonna have you log in, and log out, and log back in real quick.
You can hear him?
Log back out.
I can hear him.
Yeah,
I can hear him
perfectly.
I got 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I think we're losing you a little bit. Try logging in and
Ryan, stay there.
All right, no worries.
Brian,
no worries.
Renegade, you're lagging. Brian, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Renegade is having technical difficulties. We want to introduce esteemed guest again, Mr. Ryan Davidson. Ryan, I want to say thank you for taking the time out for right now. I know you at the wrestling school, training the next future of professional wrestling. Um, so for those who have been living under a rock, behind a tree, or just got here from another planet, give us a rundown on who you are, who you train by, and what you got going on.
Cool, right on. Definitely appreciate you guys having me. Sorry for being a little bit late. I've already destroyed one of my New Year's resolutions. Not even the third day into 2024, but hey, I'm here nonetheless. My name is I wrestle under Grizzled Ryan Davidson, primarily for Reality of Wrestling, which is Booker T's Reality of Wrestling down here in Houston, Texas. I've been wrestling for about 20 years in independent pro wrestling. I've been seen in and just got back from my first tour with All Japan Pro Wrestling. I've wrestled with DDT Pro out in Japan. I've wrestled for NWA. I've wrestled for Impact. I've wrestled for Reality Wrestling, Wildcat Sports, a bunch of different wrestling organizations across the United States. And I'm very happy to be here. As far as training wise goes, I am the head trainer here for Reality Wrestling, Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, and got a training class tonight here probably in about an hour. So I'm very grateful and happy to be on this show, and it's the first one for 2024. And I'm looking to kick this one off with a bang, man. So thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get right to it. Reality of Wrestling, run by Mr. Booker T. Tell us, how did you get into that opportunity to not only working for him but becoming a head trainer for his school? And what was
What?
working?
Well,
See,
so working with Booker is nothing short but interesting. For sure, he is the man. What you see on Booker on the television screen, at NXT, and all through WWE, and one of the pillars of pro wrestling history for sure. What you see is what you get. I mean, Book's a character, man. A lot of energy, but also shoots it to you straight. And I'm very, very grateful to have him as a mentor. And how I jumped into Reality of Wrestling was basically I broke in right when I got through playing college football at West Texas A&M University, which ironically enough, it was nicknamed Wrestler University because Dusty Rhodes, Dory Funk, and Terry Funk, Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen, Tully Blanchard, Tito Santana, Ted DiBiase, all played sports at West Texas A&M University, which was West Texas State back in the day. And I just pretty much just happened to get a scholarship to go there, and just didn't really know of the wrestling history until I played college football there. But, once I got done playing football, I got into pro wrestling, basically late 2003, early 2004. And then I broke my leg outside of wrestling, which put me on the shelf till about late summer of 2004, and then just been running and gunning ever since. And then getting into Reality of Wrestling around 2007. I moved back home to my hometown of Houston, Texas, after living out in the panhandle of West Texas and out in Oklahoma, and was doing indie shots and everything like that. And then I had a buddy of mine who was wrestling full time with Booker back in the day when it was known as PWA, and he was like, you got to come down to Books. And I was very fortunate. I kind of got the red carpet treatment because I basically, I didn't have to pay like, most wrestling schools, it's like $3,000, $3,500, $4,000 to try and be a pro wrestler in most schools. And, I just came in, I showed them my skills from working the independents for about 4 years up to that point, 3-4 years. And Booker was like, hey, just pay the gym fee, you're good, and just got it through with that. And then I think it was around 2012 or 2013, that's when PWA turned in and got rebranded into Reality of Wrestling. And we've been running and gunning ever since. I have a very long history and have known Booker since 2008. Pretty close to the guy, man. I consider him like I definitely consider him more of like an uncle, like just basically an uncle. Him and Charmel are, very close, and I owe them so much. And I've given a lot of my time and loyalty to them, and happily to do so, because Reality Wrestling for sure is my home. And it's a place, no matter where my wrestling career goes, whether it's Japan or anywhere else, I'll always have time for Reality Wrestling. As you can see, I'm here in the building right now down here in Texas City. And yeah, man, they've been wonderful. They are wonderful people. And I think, it just goes to show that when it comes to a two-time WWE Hall of Famer, and of course Sharmell being a WWE Hall of Famer as well, you really can't go can't go wrong with learning under that knowledge tree, that wealth of knowledge that they both have. And it's really shown apparently in my success and a lot of success for other people inside the wrestling business. So very grateful to be here.
Awesome. As wrestlers, we always talk about that learning tree and being able to learn under somebody and getting their wealth of knowledge. What is something that Booker may have said to you in your career that has stuck out to you so big that you kind of carry that in everything that you do in terms of your career and kind of pass on to the next level of professional wrestlers?
I'll try and keep it to a couple of things because I don't think we have enough time on this podcast or even a whole podcast series to talk about all the things I learned from Book and Sharmell and everything that I've done here in Reality of Wrestling. But, Book says, this to anybody that comes to Reality Wrestling. This isn't just a wrestling school. This is a performing arts school. And what he means by that is that you have to do certain things in wrestling that set you apart from the norm by focusing on the things of what not to do rather than the things that you should do, let alone from a showmanship aspect, getting every little bit of what you do inside that ring larger than life. Because it's more than just moves in there. I mean, I can go on the street and find a homeless guy and I can teach him how to body slam somebody in 5 minutes. It's not about the moves. It's what you do before and what you do after, and getting people drawn and paying attention and get invested into what you do. And Book's a master at that because he'll tell anybody, like, don't get me wrong, Book was horribly athletic and did a bunch of amazing stuff in the ring. But when it came to like a wrestling prowess, like he got by a lot of things, and a lot of people that he wrestled had way more of a wrestling experience, quote unquote, than he did as far as mat technician wise. But the thing was, what made Book great was that he accentuated the showmanship and like the Shakespeare of what we do to get people invested, and always carried his brand and his likeness to such a high regard to where if you needed to laugh at him, you could, but also not too much to where like you didn't take him seriously. Because no matter where you loved him or you hate him, you always took him seriously inside that ring. And those were things that he definitely taught me. In fact, that was probably my first lesson from Book, is that there's a difference between he, and ha, right? You can get by with a he, but the moment that people are falling out of their chair laughing at you for whatever's being done in the ring, then that pretty much that image of seriousness kind of gets flown out the window, and it's very hard to get that back depending on what you're trying to go for when your character in pro wrestling. And it's a bunch of those different things, man. And he's always been a very prime example of what it takes to be a professional in and out of the ring, and how the grind, no matter where you are in your wrestling journey, it never stops. It either advances or upgrades, or it just changes or shifts. And there's a lot of different stuff to it, but those things and so much more have been a bunch of pillars in my career that has led me to a lot of success.
I have a question for you. I'm back, by the way. We hear a lot about wrestling dynasties, wrestling families, and certain areas where wrestlers come out of. I know Canada gets the praise for having some really great technical wrestlers. But Texas, man, actually has a lot of wrestlers that come out of Texas, man. Can you talk about some of the wrestlers from Texas that influenced you other than Booker T?
There's some in the water down here, man. There's something in the water down here in the Lone Star State. But yeah, man, I mean, Texas is just so flooded and rich with wrestling history. I mean, right off the top of the list for me, I think the greatest of all time is Eddie Guerrero, who's a favorite of mine. And the Guerreros is such a is a pillar in professional wrestling, not just only in the state of Texas, but also in Mexico and of course around the world. And then of course you can't go without talking about the Von Erichs, who just came out with a movie, The Iron Claw, which I'm very happy to have a bunch of buddies that are actually in that movie And my boy Luke Hawks, shout out to Luke Hawks from Wildcat Sports. He has been a guy that has given me an opportunity to do some stunt work for Heels when it was on Stars, and gave a lot of opportunities for a lot of different people to get, certain gigs in TV and film. And him and Chavo Guerrero got a lot of those guys, just not guys just from Rowdy Wrestling, Wildcat Sports, but also NWA, of course, to get on this project. So it's really cool to see that. But going back to the Texas history, you got the Von Erichs, you got the Funks, you got the Guerrero family. I mean, Texas, of course, you got like the Undertaker. I mean, you can't go with, not without talking about the Undertaker. Right. Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the list just goes on and on. So I'm a fan of it. It's always hard when somebody's like, Ryan, who's your favorite wrestlers? Like, don't get me wrong, I just said Eddie Guerrero, and that's always been a constant for me just for so many different reasons. But also at the same time, it's like when I talk about like anybody else, it's like, well, it could be Stone Cold one day, and then the next day it's Book, and the next day it's Taker, and the next day it's this guy or that guy or whatever. It always changes because what's good is what's good. You know what I mean? And I'm grateful to be a part of the Texas wrestling scene. And that's not even in the past, but even now, we have so many people that are just killing it on the scene, man. First and foremost, good buddy of mine, a guy that I have seen grown so much, just not in the ring, but just in life. The bounty hunter, Brian Keith. I've played a hand and helped, develop and train him, but he's also done a lot of that work on his own. And I'm really happy at the fact that, a lot of the milestones for him on the independent side of things, I put him over for, one championship of reality wrestling, then I put him over for the championship of reality wrestling. And then just to see him grow and evolve and just be this amazing performer, dude, it's phenomenal. And then, outside of him, you have Roxanne at NXT, who, originally came out of Laredo, but she didn't really hone her craft, of course, until, she got to reality of wrestling. And then just to see her blow up and do so many great things. Hion's another person who's been killing his women's wrestling. She just did New Japan Pro Wrestling, or an event for them out in LA about a few months ago. There's so many different people, guys like Will Allday and Edge Stone and so many others. I mean, there's almost too many to name, because it's great to see somebody from Texas get that moment. But what's also even better is that the community of wrestlers that we have in the Lone Star State, like, we all support each other. Like, if there's somebody at Ring of Honor, or there's somebody on AEW, or there's somebody in Japan or whatever, you better believe you go and look at people's social media, and all these Texas wrestlers are just like, oh, this so-and-so's killing it, sharing their stuff. It's just like a good amount of support, which it always should be, because early in my career, man, back in the mid 2000s, it was very cutthroat. You know what I'm saying? It's like if somebody got an opportunity before somebody else, it was very common for someone to be like, oh, well, forget that person. Well, how did they get that and not me? Well, it's not like that, and that's what I love about wrestling, especially over the past decade, is that it's been so supportive, because we are a family. We are like a brother and a sisterhood, to where all we got is each other. That's all we got. You know what I mean? And then if somebody's success, rises, then that just goes to show you, well, hey, my success can rise too. You know what I mean? And I can go on and on talking about Texas wrestling, but at the end of the day, I'm just so grateful to to have played a hand in people's growth, and for them to play a hand in my growth as well, and just to be surrounded by so much talent, throughout the Texas scene. Ninja Mac, another guy out of Texas that I played a hand in, is at Pro Wrestling Noah. Just, he's literally Spider-Man. He can do anything, flips, and it's wild to see him. And just the fact that I can say that these people are my friends, and that I played a part in developing them and in their wrestling journey. And like I said, they've helped me and countless so many others, man. It's awesome. And I'm very grateful to be a part of the Texas wrestling scene, for sure.
Oh, I got a question. Like, when you're working with like Booker T and some of these other guys, I mean, I know you're a wrestler, so you're probably used to it, but do you ever get starstruck? Do you ever just be like, man, I'm working with this person, or I'm working with that person? Do you ever just nerd out a little bit?
Bro, we're all nerds. We're all nerds, man. And trust me, it is. It's really cool. Like, I can tell you this right now. So I'll touch on Book, and then I'll touch on Brian Keith here in a second. But for Book, like, yeah, like I have this conversation with people every now and then, like, and I really do, to where sometimes I walk into the building and yeah, you're right. You get used to it because you're constantly around that type of environment. But there's times to where like that 14-year-old me will just go, holy crap, that's Booker T, man. Like, dude, he best of seven. Like, come on, man. Like, he did this, King Booker. Like,
King
what?
Booker.
Like, I get to learn off this guy. And not only that, but like I was fortunate enough for about 2.5 years, my personal manager, the guy that would accompany me out to the ring for every match that I had, was his brother Stevie Ray. So I'm like, I'm learning from Harlem Heat, one of the greatest tag teams of what? And Stevie, man, Stevie Ray is one of the coolest people on the planet. Great guy. Can't say enough great things about him. And stuff that I've learned from him as well, not just from Book, from Stevie, has really helped me develop in my career. But yeah, you do get awestruck. But also it comes to a point in time from a professional level to where, your mindset is that like, wow, you go from wow, I can't believe I'm in the building with so and so, and and then it goes to, well, this person's my peer. Like, I'm in this building for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, I worked my tail off and I did the things that I needed to do to put myself in this situation to where I'm looked at this person basically in like the same neighborhood of talent or equals or what have you, depending on the person. And it's crazy. But, going on to Brian Keith, when we're talking about like starstruck and nerding out, oh my God, man, there'd be times where like I see him on social media, he's wrestling Masato Tanaka. I'm like, you're wrestling who? It's like, bro, what? You're a Ring of Honor? Dude, you're on AEW? And then back onto me, like, he comes to me and go, dude, you're in the Real World Tag League for All Japan Pro Wrestling. Bro, you're in All Japan Pro Wrestling? Are you crazy? Oh my God. And like, we mark out for each other. You know what I mean? And it's great, but it also goes back to that support, because it's not just him, but it's like, it's other people, because, when we see somebody do something good and we know they came out of the Lone Star State, it's like, well, hell, we could do that too. You know what I mean? There is no jealousy there, or anything like that. There might be some envy, but there's no jealousy, because, that doesn't help you at all. But you could be envious, but use that envious as motivation to help better yourself and better people around you. And to me, I believe there's a difference. And I just know that, once again, seeing people doing it amazing on the independent scene, or just not even the independents, just wrestling world in general, man, it's cool, man. It's cool. And to me, to me, it is just as much as a payoff for people to see that I've came up with and that I've played a part in helping them get their opportunity, as much as it is for myself getting an opportunity. You know what I mean? And it really just goes to show. And it's cool, man. But do we nerd out? Yeah, of course we nerd out, man. I don't think anybody would be in this business or be a part of this business if somebody wasn't a fanboy, mark, nerd, whatever term you want to use for it, man. I think we're all fans of this and still keep doing it. And that's why I've been doing it, for, like I said, 20 years consistently, not just one of these, with all due respect, not just one of these guys that are, oh, I've been in the business for 30 years, but they only work 2 or 3 times a year. No, I've been consistently every weekend, every week, every month, every year, doing shows, running the roads, catching flights, sleeping in hotels, sleeping on couches, sleeping in airports, whatever the situation is, been doing it. And I'm grateful for it, man. I really am.
Oh man, you've been wrestling since 2005, man. How has wrestling changed for you when you first started? I know you said it was a little rough and it was a little different, a little bit more grittier. To now, how has wrestling changed from the time that you first started to what you're doing now?
So many different things. So many different things. First and foremost, I feel like the mentality is different, as far as not just how to be professional in the ring, but also how you are outside of the ring. Like, I remember that when I broke into wrestling, in the early to mid 2000s, that if you were a married man, you were just automatically set up to get a divorce because you were a pro wrestler, because you were gone all the time, right? So there was a lot of broken relationships and stuff like that. Now everybody's married to each other. Now everybody's got kids. They got a whole family, dog, white picket fence, everything like that, which is great to see. Also another thing too is what's changed is that the perception of who can actually be a great talent has changed, because when I broke in, if you weren't 6'2", 240 pounds, jacked, WWE wouldn't even look at you. Nobody would even take yourself seriously. Now it doesn't matter what size you are. If you could put butts in the seats, you're going to get on the card. That's
Right.
just how it is, and it's great to see too, because there's so many different wrestlers and main eventers and superstars that are, under 6 feet tall, that are killing it. So size really doesn't matter. It's what you could do inside that ring. And then also women's wrestling, man, when I started, okay, there was maybe, I want to say 6 female wrestlers, probably within like a 4 or 5 state radius, right? And nobody really cared about going out to watch women's wrestling. They just didn't, because it was divas at the time, and it was no disrespect to any of the the women wrestlers at that time or anything like that. But from an independent standpoint, it didn't really catch on. And then of course you saw the revolution of women's wrestling just blowing up, and as it should, because women are athletes too. They always have been. They always have been. To see girls main eventing shows, killing it, making money, making things happen. I mean, the buzz right now is Mercedes Moné being a free agent. We don't know where she's going to go, right? So it's just like one of those things where it's like back in 2004, that wouldn't have been nowhere. Wouldn't have been on MySpace, wouldn't have been on Vine or whatever was going on back then. You know what I'm saying? None of that would have happened. Now it's like the main news of what's going on. So to see the explosion of women's wrestling, and now it's like, dude, just the fact that you can have consistently ran and just so many different all women's wrestling show, like good for them, like good for women to go out there and kill it, and just as good as anybody, you know what I'm saying? And I love seeing that, because now instead of 6 wrestlers within a wrestling radius, I'll have at least 8 or 9 at training tonight. You know what I mean? Let alone the fact there's 40 or 50 women just in the state of Texas alone that can main event anywhere, really. You know, so those are the things that have, like, off the top of my head, that has really changed in pro wrestling since I broke in. You know what I mean? And, of course, social media. I mean, like I said, it was MySpace back then, so now it's just, you got, Twitter or X, and, Instagram and, Facebook and everything else, and Twitch and God knows what else that's out there. And I mean, as it should, man. If there's any way you can make $1, get some exposure, out there, then by all means take it, because that's what it's there for. So it's really cool to see.
You had a group while you, I believe, were in called the Renegades, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick. One of the best damn alum, Jason Kincaid, was in your group, if I'm not mistaken.
The man, a Matt wizard. I honestly, I think he's a wizard. There's some things he can do inside that ring. I was like, what? It has to be magic, because there's no way, But anyways, yeah, Kincaid's the man.
Oh man, talk about that time with that group, because you had Sammy Guevara in that group, man. Talk about your time within the group of the Renegades, and how did that come about?
Yeah, the Renegades, man. That was something that it really didn't even get brought to my attention, or I was told that I was going to be in this faction until I actually got to Japan. And it was my first tour back in 2018, and I wrestled for DDT and a couple of different promotions under the umbrella of DDT. That's Gambare and Basara, and those companies and everything like that, which those are awesome Japanese wrestling companies. And I was told of this faction called the Renegades, which was basically spearheaded by Shigeho Irie, who's a phenomenal wrestler. Phenomenal. God, this guy's so good. So good. And he developed this faction that he was going to basically take foreign wrestlers or gaijin wrestlers, and he was going to go ahead and just spread chaos throughout the entire landscape of the wrestling landscape of Japan. And Jason Kincaid and Watase and a couple other different guys, Neon Ninja Facade, and a couple of different people were a part of the Renegades at that time. And of course, it was Sammy Guevara and what have you. And just to be a part of a faction, like you got to understand, for me, like, this is my very first tour in Japan. So wrestling in Japan, first and foremost, was a dream of mine. and I'm living this dream, and now you want to put me in a faction? Like, let's go. I'll be whatever you need to be. Renegades, killing it. And we did great, man, and it was a great showing. And DDT is a wonderful promotion, man. Like they are absolutely nuts, but nuts in the best way. And their talent there is world class. Like that's one thing about pro wrestlers out of Japan is that when it comes to their basics, their fundamentals, the footwork, everything, it's pristine. It's just pristine. And then you stack on top of that the charisma and the showmanship of what they can do, and then all these wacky things that they can do to where, like, when I was over there, when I just I think it was like my second day from this tour I just did for All Japan, and I went, and a buddy of mine got me tickets to go see the Ryogoku show that DDT did, the one where Chris Jericho was wrestling Takeshita. That just happened. And just the fact that, when I wrestled at DDT, they were doing Cork and Hall shows and everything like that, but they were kind of like smaller venues outside of that, this, that, whatever. And then like once a year, they might do like a big arena show. Well, the fact that they pretty much sold out Ryogoku was just like amazing to see. And then, on top of that, it's like you have Hiramu and Hatada are wrestling for the wrestling for this championship, and it's almost like spin the wheel, make the deal type match, to where like every match is different. To where like as soon as like one match stops, then it turns into like a blindfold match. Then it turns into like a almost like a bra and panties match. Then it turns into like this other different match, and like there's one point in the match to where they're both laying down next to each other, and then the referee puts the title belt over Hiramu, who's from New Japan. And then the next thing you know, they go ahead and count the 1, 2, 3, and the actual championship is now the current reigning champion, and they have to pin the belt. Like who thinks of stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like DDT is crazy, man. It's wonderful, and I was very happy to wrestle for that organization and to be a part of the Renegades, man, because we were in a company, and a majority of their content is basically like very wacky, creative, weird fun. The Renegades was taken very seriously, very, very seriously, but it granted me opportunities to get in the ring with female legend Miko Satomura. I got to get in the ring with Mao and Speedball Mike Bailey, who's probably one of the best wrestlers on the planet right now, and all these different things. And plus, doing 6-mans and tags with Jason Kincaid, which once again, he's a wizard. That guy is incredible at what he does. He's probably the most creative wrestler I've ever seen. And it was a blessing, man. So like wrestling for those guys and wrestling around those guys has definitely upgraded me in my own wrestling career.
Could we ever see a resurgence of the Renegades or a small faction of you guys?
I tell you what, if they book it, I'll be there, man. I'm all about it. Will it be there? I don't know. Like I said, that was spearheaded by Irie, but I know he's doing great things. He's in Japan right now, but he was killing it at WXW in Germany and all over the world, really. And but to answer your question, if the Renegades had a resurgence, would I be about it? Absolutely. I'd be the first guy on the plane to go back and to take care of business.
Oh man, I know that's right. Talk about some of your personal journeys, right? What's something that you've learned within the last couple of years that's really stuck with you about either wrestling or life?
Man, that's yeah. I can tell you, for me, and this is something that I tell a lot of guys that I train, and not only that I train, but people that are my peers. And one thing is that, and this is a Booker T thing, to where it's like the only luck you'll ever have in this business or in life is your preparation. That's the only luck you'll ever have. And I can tell you from my standpoint that when the opportunity happens, and it will, it's never going to come to you as fast as you think it's going to. Because wrestling in life it's a mental game. It is a mental game. Now, going back to where, like I was talking about, you seeing people all around you killing it, blowing up, doing great things, everybody's supporting each other, but there's also that inside little competitor inside of you that's like, well, hell, like, what do I need to do to get to that level? What do I need to do to make something happen, you know? And if you don't have your mind right and you don't have your emotions in check, you can let that overwhelm you, and you can honestly think, you know, detrimental towards yourself, and be negative or bitter or whatever. And I tell everybody that it's never going to happen to you as fast as you think it's going to, but when it does happen, and it will, then it's going to come to you faster than you ever thought, because that was so true for me. It was so true for me, because wrestling in Japan, it was like a far out dream that I just didn't think, like I like it was a dream, but it was at the same level from my standpoint of like wrestling WWE. Like it was just this, I don't know if I'll ever touch it, this, that, whatever. But then when it actually happens, and then you're there and you're standing behind the curtain at Cork and Hall about to go out and wrestle in front of 3,000 people, you're just going, wow, like that happened, right? Like this is happening right now. And, I could tell you, you know, I know it's a buzzword, but manifesting is real. I wrote things down in my journal. You know, I'm wrestling here one day. I don't know how, but I just know it. I feel it. I feel it. Next thing you know, you go back and read journals from a few years ago and you go, wow, I actually did that. Like I actually did that. You know what I mean? And the lesson out of that is just to keep grinding. And I know that's like a very unsexy thing to say, because people are like, oh God, I hear that all the time. Grind, grind, grind. But it's like, once again, it goes back to preparation is the only luck you're ever going to have. It's just because here's the thing, like an opportunity could fall into your lap, and that's great. But if you're not prepared, that's a one-shot deal. Bang, it comes and it goes. That's it. Right. But if you want things like that to keep happening to you, that's where preparation comes in. Right. And you know, when I first went to DDT and I came back, like after my last match, I wrestled Mao at Shinkiba First Ring, which is like their kind of like their main TV studio building in Japan for like a bunch of different organizations and stuff like that. And, you know, they asked me if I would, you know, would you come back to Japan? Which the obvious answer is, duh, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? So they had it ready to go and lined up that I was going to come back, you know, in 2019. Okay, great. Well, next thing you know, the business changes to where the company decided that they just wanted to bring in talent that have these massive social media numbers. I didn't have these massive social media numbers at the time. I'm still working on them, to be honest with you, okay? And by massive, I mean like over 50,000 followers, all this other different things, you know, stuff like that. So, and then right after that decision was made, there was this thing called COVID that hit the entire world. So, and Japan was extremely strict on COVID regulations. So like nobody could get in, you know, and in fact, the only reason or the only way that you would actually be allowed in as an athlete was that you had to be a part of the Olympic team, or you had to be a part of the Olympics at that time to actually get in, you know? So like, that's why a lot of wrestlers that wrestle for like New Japan and other different places, like they stayed, you know, and other different reasons too, but I'll try and trim the fat on this. But the thing is that I thought my chance of ever going back was gone. And I went into a massive depression over that. I really did. Like, I was just like, God, it was just a one-shot thing. And then I questioned, like, was I actually prepared? I thought I was, but I don't know. They told me I did so good. And, you know, fans hit me up and, you know, I still talk to a lot of wrestlers. Like, I just didn't know, you know? And it just really messed with me mentally. But I also knew preparation is the only luck that I'm going to have. So I got to somewhat stay prepared. So once I eventually got out of my funk and just went ahead and I was like, look, I'm just going to keep grinding. I'm just going to keep doing my thing. This, that, whatever. Next thing you know, 5 years later, All Japan Pro Wrestling hits me up. And not only do they hit me up, but they go, hey, do you want to be a part of our Real World Tag League, which is one of the oldest wrestling tournaments that have been around in pro wrestling. They've been going on since, I think, 1978 or something, longer than I've been alive. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing the exact same things that these guys that I've looked up to and I've watched thousands of hours of tape on. I'm a part of something that they've done. You know what I mean? And All Japan was like me coming up as a wrestler. It was WWE, All Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, that was it. Just those two. Anything else would be
No in between. No WCW, ECW, none of that.
nah, man. WWE, All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Wow.
And the fact that I got on that, I was just blown away. I was like, oh, like I couldn't believe that it was actually happening. I just couldn't. And it still does. It still kind of blows my mind that I was there and did that. And, you know, and it not just from, like, I know talent wise, like, I'm good enough to wrestle anywhere. But the thing was, it just from, once again, that little 14-year-old me that was just like, dude, you're doing the same thing Stan Hansen does. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, it was just crazy. Once again, nerding out, you know, like, yeah, of course I nerded out. But it taught me a big lesson of just like, you have to stay the course. And I'm very blessed that I've always had like this little voice in my head that was like, man, even in my deepest, darkest moments to where I'm just like, constantly thinking about quitting wrestling and, you know, maybe this isn't going to work out. You know, I gave it my best shot or this, that, whatever. There's this little voice that just came, just keep going, man. Just keep going. Just keep going, bro. Just keep going. And I did. And it got me a lot of different opportunities and stuff like that. And that's something that was really, really big of what I've learned in pro wrestling, let alone the fact that, you know, you have to make sure that you make wise choices in your pro wrestling career and life. Because another lesson I learned is that good or bad, karma has no timetable, but it is inevitable. So you better make sure that you make the right actions and the right choices accordingly. Because as the old cliche says, you know, what goes around comes around. And it's very true. You know what I mean? And that goes for a lot of good too. A lot of good. Because when it comes to you when you least expect it, and that's that whole like, oh man, I always knew you had it, or oh, it's, you know, all this is coming up, or you deserve it, or this, that, whatever. That's where that good karma comes in. So a lot of those years of training guys and going out of my way for things and stuff like that. And not that I went out of my way, I made a choice. I wanted to do those things, but to think that will all these things actually pay off? Yeah, they will. It's just not immediate. You know, some things are like, I can think about, it'd be nice to have a cup of coffee. And I can just go up the street and grab a cup of coffee. It's fine. And then some things take some time, you know? And I think if you just always focus on your preparation, man, because if you want luck, that's where you're going to get it, is your preparation. That's where you're going to get it, because an opportunity will come to you. I've known guys that have gotten contracts in Japan or other different companies just because unfortunately someone got hurt or someone's visa didn't go through or something crazy happened out of nowhere. And then they just picked up, you know, they got a phone call randomly one day and they go, hey man, would you want to come for 3 weeks to New Japan? Yeah. You know, like out of nowhere. Right. I can tell you for me on Heels, the show Heels with Stephen Amell and everything like that was on Stars. Literally, that phone call came out of nowhere on a random Tuesday afternoon. Random. Just random. Picked up the phone, Luke Hawks. Hey, bro, I'm trying to get you on this TV show. What are you doing? Can you come out to Atlanta for like 5 weeks? Yeah. Let me just get some things. All right, man. Cool. Later. Next thing you know, I'm on a TV show.
That's awesome, man.
It's crazy. But the thing is that happened to me. It can happen to you. It can happen to anybody on this show, anybody listening at any times. You just have to be prepared, because that's the luck that's going to come into you. Just be prepared. It's intention. It's putting that intention out there, because that's all preparation is just intention. You know what I mean? Just keep putting out those intentions and you'll get that luck. That luck will come to you.
Oh man, I can see that you have a small love for the acting. You know what I'm saying? Did you get the acting bug while you were on the show Hills?
Man, so I don't know about the acting bug, but that residual check bug, I sure got that. I sure got that. The paydays were kind of nice, you know. That's them SAG checks were kind of nice coming in the mail afterwards. But you know, as far as that experience, yeah, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is it's a very hectic, time-consuming job. I mean, like I could tell you from like personal experience, like guys like Stephen Amell, Alex Ludwig, a lot of these different actors and actresses, that were on this show never stopped moving, never stopped going over their lines or going over different things. And it's not even just the actors, it was the people that were like the key grips, a lot of the, producers, a lot of the different, set hands, stuff like that, like never stopped moving. Long days, long filming days. And I was just a stunt guy. You know what I mean? I was in 3 episodes in season 1. Okay. 3 episodes, which it was like, me in the locker room over here. I was part of the battle royal scene. I was part of this other locker room scene, like maybe 2 other little things, and that was it. But it was like 15 hours, right? Like in my wrestling boots, like just going over things, stuff like that, rehearsing, doing this, doing that. And I was little. I wasn't even like anything. I wasn't even on the cast or nothing, right? So I can't imagine what they go through. So like Stephen Amell, like the main character of the show, his commitment to like projects is like crazy. You know what I mean? And it was cool to see, like just looking around, like I'm on a set with like, hey, she was in like 3 movies and that guy's over here. And then also on top of that, being a football guy, James Harrison, Super Bowl champion, Pittsburgh Steeler alum, this giant mountain of a man that I'm not scared of any man, but if I was, it'd probably be James Harrison. Okay. And I'm sitting over here and I'm looking at him and I got to grab him in this battle royal scene and he flings this all off and stuff like that. And I'm just like, how did I get here? Right? Like it's crazy. So yeah, I guess I caught that bug a little bit and stuff like that. But just the fact of, once again, just being in that sort of environment and just having that opportunity was just very, very grateful. And I just kept telling the guys, because there was a lot of guys there that were just like, man, they do a season 2, they do this, they do that. Oh man, da 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 da. I was just like, man, just being here right now, even if it's a one and done, I'm grateful for it, man. Like super cool. And I always owe Luke Hawx that opportunity, man, because it was a very prosperous opportunity. I got a couple of really good residual checks in the mail from that. And I have him to thank for it, and the staff and everything else, man. So I was very grateful to be here.
Well, next time your check come in the mail, I'm about $3.
Man, I got you. How about 5? I can give you 5.
My man, I appreciate it.
Talk about preparation. I know you're getting ready to start the training down at school right now. What are you doing in terms of preparing the guys for the training, like a night of training with you?
Well, it depends. It depends on what class it is. So I mainly run the advanced classes here at Reality Wrestling, because we have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced classes here. And then, of course, there are times to where I'll run beginner and intermediates. And I think tonight's actually an intermediate class, to be honest with you. So it depends on the level of where each wrestler is at. But the main thing that I try and teach, regardless of what level, is first and foremost safety, which comes with proper technique of doing things. Because for anybody that stepped inside a wrestling ring, as fun as it looks, it is no playground. You can get hurt and banged up in there very quickly. So fundamentals is very, very big with me. Very big with me. I tell people all the time, if you have great fundamentals, you can wrestle anywhere in the world. I am a good example of that, because I am not I'm not a body guy. I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the fastest guy, but I have great fundamentals because I win it over and over and over and over again, just on the little things. And it's just, that goes to show. And when you're working inside the ring, so I'm the type of trainer to where I'm kind of a stickler for things. Like I try not to be over the top when it comes to things, because I know from people's minds are different. So it might take this person a little longer to learn this, and this other person might catch up quickly. I try and let people figure things out on their own, because I can tell you how to do things until you're blue in the face, but there's only some experiences and some lessons that you're only going to learn just by what you go through on a personal level. So I try not to micromanage too much. But I'm also a stickler of, once again, going back to what Booker taught me, of just getting the most out of the littlest thing that can help you, to where, you don't want to wrestle like a majority of people that wrestle on the scene. You want to be different. And by being different could be hitting the ropes a certain way, the way that you go into a certain hold, the way that you react to something, the way that, your demeanor is, the way that your facial expressions are, picking up, how to move your body around so all the cameras around the building can see you rather than just focusing on the hard cam. You know what I mean? A big thing that I teach is that in my mind, when I'm wrestling, like it doesn't matter if I'm in a VFW hall, high school gymnasium, I'm at a civic center, doesn't matter where I'm at, I'm always wrestling in Madison Square Garden. Because what I do in the ring, I got to make sure the single dad that took his 8-year-old boy to get wrestling tickets and the only thing that he can afford is the nosebleeds, I got to make sure they see what I'm doing every single thing that I do, right? And that really applies into the basics and fundamentals as well, rather than just going in there and doing it, having things deal with purpose, right? And also at the same time, from a physicality standpoint, because wrestling's wrestling, there's contact, you're hitting. I know people like to use the F word a lot, where it's like fake or whatever, and I can debate that all day and stuff like that. But also at the same time, it's like, even though we are wrestling and this is a physical, enduring thing that we're doing, we also want to make sure that, hey, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm just trying to make some money in here. And guess what? If you're making money, I'm making some money too. And we're going to be a lot happier together if we're going to be making some money in here, right? And the company's going to be happy because they're making money off of us, and then we're making money, and da-da-da-da-da. And it's a great thing for everybody, right? So with that being said, is that I also want to make sure that guys aren't getting in there just trying to rip each other's heads off, because I have the mentality of, hey, I got like 3 or 4 more shows to do after this. Right, because anybody who's on the independent scene or running big loops for WWE or other major companies, you don't just do 1 show a week. You're doing like 3 or 4 or 5 events week after week, and you got to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of the other person in there, and vice versa. So there's a lot of those aspects that I go into wrestling as well, because anybody can go in there and just take somebody's head off if they got a clean shot. But, it's just one of those things that just pro wrestling really is art in so many different ways. It really, really is. And I try and take what I've learned from Booker and my own personal experiences and from other things that I've learned from other different legends around the wrestling. Guys like Harley Race, who I've gotten to learn some things from that I'm very grateful for, and guys like Stevie Richards and Stevie Ray and countless other different people all around pro wrestling. Mr. Ebony Tom Jones, may he rest in peace, was my original trainer. He was like a pioneer for black wrestlers. He's like the man from like back in like the 70s and the 80s and stuff like that. Like guys like them, like I just try and take what they taught me and just spread it out to everybody else.
Oh man, that's great. You were the first Grand Slam champion of reality of wrestling, man. How did that feel?
Yeah, so I'll answer your question, then I'll go back real quick if you guys got some time on another lesson that I've learned from this situation. This is another wrestling lesson. I love telling this story. So ever since I came to books and everything like that, I've always wanted to be the champion, right? Like I was so hell-bent, like, no, I'm good enough. I can be the guy. And I kept on seeing a bunch of other people get an opportunity or win the championship before me. And people that I knew in the ring, with all much respect that I had for them, I knew that I was better than. Like I just knew it. Like I worked harder, I trained harder, I had more talent, this, that, whatever. And it just, once again, I wasn't on that level back then of being like, instead of being supportive and looking at it as oh man, if that guy can do it, I can do it too. I was all like, man, what does he have that I don't? You know what I mean? It was a very immature time for me coming up and everything. So it was one of those things that really affected me in my mindset and stuff like that. And then I eventually got it right and basically made the decision that no matter what happens, championship or not, I'm going to wrestle the best that I can for myself and for the fans too. as much as humanly possible, and everything else will just fall into place. So, during that time, I won tag team championships with Reality Wrestling. I won the Texas title. I won, what was the other title that they had? I think it was the international title or something or anything like that. But anyways, I won these championships. I was like, okay, that's cool. This, that, whatever. And then the next thing you know, March 2019, they're going to, I let go of that idea of not being the champion. I just wanted to be the best wrestler I could be. I just wanted to be respected, and I just wanted to be the guy that everybody wants to work. Those are my only two goals in wrestling. Everything else falls into place. Money, whatever, 3-letter company. I just wanted that. And next thing you know, March 2019 comes around. We have this big battle royal, this, that, whatever. And it gets decided just out of nowhere. You know what? Ryan been busting his ass. Ryan, we're going to put the strap on you tonight. Oh, well, thank you so much. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But once again, I didn't even really want it because I just wanted to just keep wrestling for the fans and for me. Well, it was Brad Gilmore, one of the ring commentators, our commentator for Reality Wrestling. He comes up to me and goes, man, congratulations, man. You're our first ever Grand Slam champion. And I go, huh? He goes, yeah, you're your first ever Grand Slam champion. I go, no. This guy was already, because I was thinking in my mind, like, this guy already did that. This guy already did that, this, that, whatever. They're like, no. This guy only won this belt one time, and they never won this one. And this other guy, he's never been tag champion, and then this and that and that. And I go, I'm the first Grand Slam champion. He's like, yeah. And I was like, wow, right? Wow. And it happened way better than I ever had it because all I wanted was just to be the champion. If I can only just do that, it was that, all this other different stuff. But the thing was, I wasn't really prepared for it mentally, emotionally. I wasn't prepared, right? So when I got prepared and I mentally and emotionally let go of that and just focused on me and just trying to bring the best that I could, not only did I win the belt, but I actually did something that no one else was able to do. So actually what I've always wanted wasn't as good as what actually happened, right? Which is also another great lesson into the fact where it's like when you just focus on yourself and you let go of like these external things and just be the best version that you can be, then don't limit yourself to just one little thing because you don't know how great it can be, right? You just don't. And like that was a big like, wow, crazy, right? And I love telling that story because I tell it to a bunch of young guys because I hear it all the time. Man, I just want to do this, or I want to wrestle for here, or this, that, whatever, And I'm just like, just focus on you, man. That's it. Just be the best version of you that you could possibly be, man. That's it. All that will come, and things will even come up better than you ever even thought. You probably wouldn't even thought of it. I didn't think of heels. I didn't think of this. I didn't think of all these other things that happened. They just happened. That was it.
Well, listen, we have this Mr. Everything. For some reason, he always has some kind of with the wrestlers.
He always has was. I'm sorry. Say that again. You broke up for a second. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Everything always has some type of a beef with the wrestlers that come on this show. Not quite sure what it is.
Man, bring that beef, bro. Bring that, man. Come on, man. Bring that.
Yeah, he said some disparaging things about you before you got on.
Hey, man, too salty, bro. Less salt in 2024, dog. Too salty.
Listen, we're going to go to promo school real quick, and I want you to cut a scathing promo on Mr. Everything. But I'm going to put him on the spot first. I'm going to let the best finish last. Go ahead, Mr. Everything, and say what you got to say to the one and only Ryan Davidson.
There's a story behind everything that we do in life, and everything that we do echoes in eternity. A couple of months ago, you and I had the opportunity to step in the ring, step face to face with each other, and beat the hell out of each other. Undoubtedly, we beat the hell out of each other. We gained respect. We took a little bit from each other. What you did to get that win, unforgivable. Unforgivable and unforgettable. Ryan, you walked into that ring as a man and you escaped that ring as a coward.
Ooh.
I don't know why you felt the need to take the liberty in doing a low blow, ref it or not, still took the easy way out. So I tell you what, the next time we have the opportunity to step in the ring, I'll be sure that you won't have a chance to have an easy way out.
Mm.
Mm,
Mm.
mm, mm,
Mm.
mm. In the words of Rick James, I think I'm bleeding inside my chest. Oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurts. That hurt a lot. Okay, all right, all right. That's good. I also like that that gladiator quote that you had. See, you're spending too much time watching the greatness of other men, when really you could have been taking all the experiences that you gathered, getting that ass whooping from me when we actually stepped in the ring last time. When you're sitting there counting the lights and I'm counting the dollars in the back. Okay. So here's the thing. Look, I know that you're serious, and don't get me wrong. I'm not even going to try and get it twisted, man. I know that you are what you say you are. You're Mr. Everything. Because I went ahead and had this vision of when I got in the ring with you that I was like, man, he's only going to bring this and brought that and this. You brought everything. You brought wrestling, you brought fighting skills, and you were downright tough. And trust me, I know there's only about maybe 10 tough guys in the back when you and I were wrestling in Arkansas. But the only difference between you and me is that out of those 10 guys, 9 of them call me sir. Okay? So I'll tell you this, Mr. Everything. The next time, if there will be a next time that you get in the ring with me, instead of just watching movies and watching tapes of other great men, the only thing that you need to do is just watch me beat you again. And I'll take you out to eat after we're done.
Oh my God! Shot fired. Bang 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 bang. Man, he gonna take you out to dinner like Diddy.
Hey, you hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings.
Hey, my inside parts he just rearranged the
Oh,
inside parts.
I tell you what, man.
No,
I
but
tell you what. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, man, from the moment we saw each other at the airport, and this may be talking behind the big curtain. You've been an amazing guy, amazing professional. I enjoy in the ring with you. They helped me elevate my abilities and know where I'm at in terms of professional wrestling and fighting as a whole, and where my talents are. And I truly appreciate you, even with me not having my gear because of the airport situation and everything. We still went out
Man,
and killed.
that's tough, man. That's a tough go. But listen, I'll tell you this. The feeling is just not only mutual, and I do appreciate you that. I appreciate my flowers, my friend, and allow me to give you some flowers as well. And this is just honest, okay? I can tell you this honestly. I've been in the ring with a lot of different guys from around the world. I can honestly say that. And I can tell you, and I meant it when I told you this in the back when we got done, there's not a lot of guys that I can go out there very first time and go out to have the type of chemistry that you and I had. And not only on top of that, but the fact that you and me didn't talk about anything, nothing, zero. And I mean zero, which was crazy because I knew by your cadence and the vibe that you brought in that I already knew you knew what you were doing. And like I said, I saw some matches on YouTube and I was like, okay, guy's got some skills. He's got good footwork, this, that, whatever. Okay, cool. I can have an idea of what kind of match that we're gonna have. But the type of vibe that you actually brought was on the fact of like, hey man, we just want to go out and just get it done. And I'm like, oh, a fellow veteran, eh? Ah, like in Michelangelo Ninja Turtles, a fellow chucker, eh? Ah, Is it doing the nunchucks? And like that was, I had that moment with you, and then you back that up in the ring, and I'm sitting there going, man, this dude would kill it in Japan if he got that opportunity. Man, that's what I'm talking about. This dude here is awesome. So, buddy, thank you for making that night for me way easier than I thought it was going to be. Let alone I thought it was going to be easy in general, but you know what I'm getting at. And it just goes to show your test of skills and the level of what you're at. By all means, my man, if you ever doubt yourself, trust me when I say that there's no reason to, because you got the skills, you got the talent, and I'd be more than happy to work you again and again and twice on Sunday, my dude. So on the Lord's Day. So yeah, man, it was really cool, and I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate you guys for really having me on. Had a lot of fun on this podcast episode. I just looked at the clock. I'm like, oh, 6:45. Here we go. So got to stretch and get this going and everything. But man, gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing me to bend your ear for a little bit on this amazing wrestling podcast you guys have. Please keep doing it. Please keep continuing to put out good content and stuff like that. And man, thank you. Thank you for having me on, man. If anybody wants to listening wants to check out any of my social media at rdbear57, Twitter, Instagram. Facebook is just Ryan Davidson by all means. And, love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much.
And we appreciate you real quick. Great interview. Hey, listen, we want you to leave the people with a final word. And you dropped a lot of gems during this entire interview, man. But if you had to give one more final word to give a little bit of motivation, a little bit of hope to the people that are listening to you right now, what is your final word?
See, man, all I do is drop gems, Brian Renegade. That's all I do, man. I just drop gems. I drop a line of them, multiple lines, a field, if you will. Okay, but there ain't no better gem than the Best Damn Wrestling podcast, man. And I know everybody out here on 2024 is making themselves some New Year's resolutions. They want to make more money. They want to lose more weight. They want to go ahead and get the girl or the guy or the job, the status, the house. The only thing that you need to do is to make sure that you cut out a little bit of time each and every week for the Best Damn Wrestling podcast. And then, of course, if you got some time after that, go ahead and watch some Ryan Davidson matches, because you'll never be disappointed, because I am the man around here. So,
around these parts.
And Mr. Everything, you and I got unfinished business, brother. Nothing but love and respect, but we got unfinished business, baby. And it's all good. But guys, bless you guys, man. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate y'all. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, because y'all do it well.
All right. Thank you so much.
All
right.
right.
Y'all be good, man. Later, man.
Peace. Oh, man. Another heater. You know what I'm saying?
What do I bring?
The best booker in the business, Jack. The best booker in the business, man. Oh, man. That was a great interview from the one and only Ryan Davidson. He was dropping some jewels, man. And you know what I'm saying? Almost philosophical, as we can say.
But real quick. Did y'all hear what that man said? Did you hear him? When he had said, if I had an opportunity in Japan, I could kill it in Japan. Did you hear what he said when he said it? Because I heard when he said it, because I was like, what?
I ain't hear those parts.
He heard it.
LB, did you hear that? I ain't hear that.
I thought he said, "Don't never bring your ass to Japan."
Yeah, sound more like that.
People, God, just look. This is the third day of 2024. It be your own people.
Your own people. Oh man. Well, listen, Mr. Everything. Let the beautiful people know what you got going on and where can they find you.
Absolutely. Y'all already know I'm wrestling every week. Wrestling every week. Got some big things coming up. Right now, I am finalizing the details for me to wrestle in Germany this June.
Ooh.
Mr.
Okay.
Everything International for the very first time. I'm excited. I'm blessed. I don't know what I am right now. I'm just like ready. That's what I am. I'm ready. I'm prepared. Like Ryan Davidson said, I'm prepared and I'm ready. I'm gonna go out there and get busy. I now have a facility to train in terms of personal training and fitness. So that's a big venture for me right now that I'm so excited for and ready for. Um, yeah, man, I'm out here just look. It's God year. It's God year for me right now, and I'm ready and I'm excited, happy, and yeah, man. I could say the same thing over and over because it's just what it is.
Yeah, man. I love that. It's God shit. Y'all hear that? You know what I'm saying? LPZ, what you got going on and where can the people find you? I saw one of your headpieces. Looked like you was about to make the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on something for maternity shoot. So I've been going back and forth trying to do that while we been on.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, same old photography shows, events. Just follow me on Instagram. One Click Photography Shoots with an S. You know, I always got this going on every week. Let's not forget, we always got this going on every Wednesday.
Yeah, and you got your own show too, LP. Talking about fashion and the fashion industry. What drop some jewels on that?
Oh yeah, I have another podcast. We just getting it started. This actually be the second episode in January. We don't do it like once a month. We just talk about modeling stuff, fashion, whatever pops up at the time. Um, I do it with Kelly Cunningham. It's called, what is the damn podcast called? I forgot that quick. Oh yeah, it's just our opinion podcast. But we really about to go full blast with that. But we just getting that started. So yeah, so I'll be doing two podcasts now. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess people want to hear me talk a little bit.
There you go, man. You got a voice that people want to hear, man. Oh
I
man, and we got the best damn nation showing you love. Such a dope photographer. All right, boy, LPZ.
say that.
Yeah, we giving flowers this year, Jack. You hear me? Oh man. My name is Brian Renegade. You can find me on all platforms at Brian Renegade. Check out what I got going on. I'm so excited for this year, and I got a big announcement to tell you guys, but it's gonna have to wait. When I tell you, you're gonna be like, oh my god. So yeah, follow me on all platforms at Brian Renegade to see what I got going on, and you can follow the show and everything that we got going on all of our social medias. So you can catch us on Instagram at the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. You can check us out on our Facebook group, the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. You can check out our Facebook page, the BD Wrestling Podcast. You can check us out on X, or formerly known as Twitter, at Best Damn Crew. You can check us out on Twitch at the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. And you can follow us on TikTok at Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. Fellas, real quick, you know we do this at the end of each show. I wanted to really cram in a lot because there was a lot of stuff that happened, man, including the return of the great one, The Rock. But you know how we do it. We got to give people a little bit of motivation, a little bit of love. I'm gonna start with your boy LPZ, the genie of the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. Do you have a word of motivation, a word to get people through their week, a quote, an excerpt from the book of L?
Oh man, I think I'll just say just like stay positive. I think he hit so much stuff on the head about staying positive, and you'll get there when it's time to get there. I mean, I liked a lot of stuff that he said, and that was like a big thing that he really was bringing up. So really, just stay positive and keep on pushing. That's about to keep it simple today. That's all you gotta do. Just keep pushing.
Just keep pushing, stay positive. Sometimes, to be honest with you, man, that's the hardest thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Is to keep yourself motivated, and the crazy part is most of the time you put your things that you want to accomplish on such a high pedestal. And then sometimes when you get there, it feels empty, right? But then you realize it was never the goal to be achieved. It was always the journey and enjoying the journey. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you, LPZ. Believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? It'll get you through. Mr. Everything sitting in your gym, you know what I'm saying? Do you have a final word or word of motivation for your beautiful subjects?
Yes, I do, and I've been thinking about this for a while, and this is what I wanted to do the last podcast. But my brain was all over the place, and it comes from the movie Finding Nemo, and it was the scene where the school of fish was telling Dory whenever they get to the what was it, like the cavern or something like that, to go through it and not over it. And when they got there, Marlin was looking at it. He was like, "No, that looks dangerous. It looks dark and it's dangerous. It's better that we go over it." And she was like, "No, no, I'm telling you that I feel like we need to go through it."
Mm.
And he convinced her to go over it. And when they did, they ran into a school of jellyfish. So I want to tell people today, sometimes you just gotta go through the storm. Don't try to go over. You just gotta stay the path, stay the course, go through that storm because you never know what's on the other side. You don't know what's on over top of it. You may be more in danger going over it or trying to go around it than just going straight through. So keep your eyes focused, keep your mind together, and just go through that storm. You'll get to the other side a lot easier.
Oh man, I didn't know where you were going when you first said the Find the Nemo thing. I was just keep swimming. I thought that you was about to say that. I swear, I swear. But that was a great analogy, man. I like that. Sometimes you see something and you be like, man, I don't want to go through that. But sometimes is what builds your character and makes you who you are. You know what I'm saying? The adversity and the things that you go through. Sometimes you don't know how much the character building that we go through whenever we face adversity. You know what I'm saying? I had a little altercation. Let me go ahead. I got it. I'm gonna give you my final word and I'm gonna kind of go into it. But I had a little altercation where I had to get some scraping in with somebody, and I didn't realize that even though the words that I was saying to the person was non-threatening, my energy and my presence was, and that person was uh, a little fearful, and they called the police on me. 7 police popped up at my door. So I'm saying, it's like, man, we starting off the year kind of rough. But I think that you have to be mindful, and I was very justified in all that. But I think this is my final word. You have to be mindful when the enemy is trying to attack you, and you have to be mindful when people try to get you out of your character. You have to be mindful of your energy when it comes to your friends and your family whenever you're dealing with something personal, because you never know how that may affect them or how you may come up. You know what I'm saying? So I think that going back to what Ryan Davidson said, man, just be prepared. You know what I'm saying? Prepare yourself for the victory as well as the battle. You know what I'm saying? Prepare yourself for the journey as well as the destination. And during that time, watch your energy, watch the things that you say about yourself, watch the things that you say about other people. You know what I'm saying? Don't let in the poison of doubt and fear try to stop the progress that you're making towards the new you and your new destiny. You know what I'm saying? Um, and when the enemy comes knocking, don't let them take you out of your game. You know what I'm saying? Stand on all 10 toes, stand on business, as T.I. Son said. Stand on business. And, just don't let nobody take you out of your character of who you really are. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be tested. You're going to be tried. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be times where you're going to have some tough decisions that you got to face. But stay prayed up. You know what I'm saying? Stay protected. Protect your safety, your sanity. your peace and your progress in this new year. No, that was a loaded one, but it's okay. Fellas, how'd you feel about that final word?
I like the
Oh
fact
yeah.
that these final words they all tie together. They always tie together.
Yeah, they always mesh together. You know what I'm saying? We all about spreading love, peace, head grease, and positivity on this show. On this show. Oh man. Real quick. LP, you got another fashion show coming up, my friend?
Yeah, April 28th of this year. Back to the Future fashion show. That'll be my next event, and then I got one more fashion show that ain't officially been announced. So I'm doing two this year. I said I was only doing one, but like a dummy, I'm doing two this year.
Might even do three. Might even do three. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. All right. Well, beautiful people.
Hold on. Before we cut off, I'd like to make this announcement. Even though we only talked about this on the chat, and I don't know when we're going to do this just yet, but we're going to have the trial of that punk ass Roman Reigns. I'm definitely. I'm assuming one of y'all going to be trying to defend the brother. I don't know where Chef going to go, but I'm definitely against him. So somebody got to be the judge. Somebody, and I guess the other two got to try to defend. But we're going to have that show soon. I don't know
like
when.
that.
But whoever, y'all can decide which one y'all want to be the judge and which one y'all want to be the defense attorney and try to defend that piece of crap. But you better have your stuff ready because when you do that show, I'm gonna destroy that podcast.
Hey man, I'm interested in being the judge, and I'm also interested in being the defense attorney for Roman Reigns.
You can't be both now.
Well, you know, I kind of wanted to make this one-sided, but you know, it's okay.
You can't be both. But I feel like the best damn nation gonna be the jury. We're not gonna make. All we're gonna do is put the case out there. The best damn nation is gonna vote based on how we put it out there on what side. Maybe I can convince some people who own Roman nuts to come on over here and rock with me after I lay out all the damn evidence that guy's a piece of trash.
We're gonna do that this week, man. Hopefully, we can do it before Friday. I like that. The trial of Roman Reigns. You said his ass is going on trial, LP.
He's going on trial now. Whoever gonna defend it, you better have your receipts. Because I got
He got you. Oh man, that's gonna be a fun show. Doing we call wrestling court. Is that what we want to call that? Wrestling court? Yeah.
Hey, I think that's something we can start doing from within different topics.
I like that. Especially with some of these repeat offenders in these streets. Oh man. Hey, listen, fellas. Before I end the show, I just want to give a rundown of some of the support that we've been getting lately. We have some new sponsors that just jumped on board. So let me just give y'all the rundown of everybody who supports the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. We got the Fanatics WWE shop. Southwest Airlines Rapid Rewards just jumped on board. Hilton Honors Rewards just jumped on board. Marriott Bonvoy just jumped on board. Brick House Nutrition. Welcome to the Best Damn Train. We also got discountcontactlenses.com, eyeglasses.com, Fight Sports or Fight TV, Ghirardelli Chocolates, healthlast.com, Nature Made, OrlandoVacations.com, Pete's Coffee, Russell Stover's Chocolate, STDCheck.com, Tour Hub, not Pornhub, but Tour Hub, Upside app, Phoenix Foodies, IdleCam, and Rite Aid just came on board, man. So welcome to all the sponsors of the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. Beautiful people. We got some discounts. We got all kind of stuff that you could take advantage of from our sponsors. Just follow us on all our platforms. And whenever you see it, just click on it and tell them that the boys at the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast sent you over there. They get some goodies. Fellas, it was a great show. We can't hold you no longer. We will see you next week. On the next Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. Fellas, it is always an honor and a pleasure. Beautiful people, we bid you